So today Panasonic's releasing the news around their new phase detect and DFD combined focusing system, and quite likely the release of the new S5 Mark II cameras. And if you've been following all the news and the rumours, then you'll have already have seen that the specs for the new camera have been leaked, and they do show that it has a phase detect focusing system complementing the existing DFD focusing system. And we've talked about it in another video, kind of, what DFD is, but this isn't kind of about that. It's it's essentially just talking about the new focusing system and where it kind of leaves us in Micro Four Thirds. So to confirm the kind of, those leaks, Panasonic have essentially scheduled a video today called New Year, New Phase. So any kind of rumours have kind of been, confirmed there, because we just know that it is coming today. But the question I kind of asked myself is, have Panasonic kind of played it well with the GH6 and put the right hardware into the camera to give it the ability to get the phase detect autofocus in a firmware update? So kind of traditionally, Panasonic have really thrown the kitchen sink into hardware, giving them a really good base to build on with cameras. I mean, the GH6 that this has been shot on, it just went from strength to strength over, about 5 years of updates. And this could kind of give a bit of an insight into how they're looking to go forward with newer models. I mean, I really like the kind of Panasonic support and update ecosystem, and I really hope that, change isn't on the horizon for that. Don't get me wrong, like I bought the GH6 knowing that it only had DFD autofocus. It is a little bit of a frustrating spec on the camera, and with all Panasonic cameras, but it's something I kind of accept with that because of everything else the camera has to offer. You've got those great high frame rates. You've essentially just got so many good video tools that you can't get on a lot of mirrorless cameras. So it's it has got a lot to offer in other areas. And I don't really have too many issues with the autofocus on the GH6. I kind of play to its strengths, and I'll use manual focus where I know it's going to struggle, maybe in low light, and quite often that is my preference to do that anyway. So it's not a huge problem. And this camera's already had some really good updates. Like it had the update for SSD recording over the USB port. Which I'll leave a link if you kind of don't know about that. And we've also had internal ProRes as one of the updates, so it's already had some really great features. It's just is the phase detect something that can also come along? I sort of feel like if Panasonic had knowingly released the GH6 without compatible hardware, and they were aware that they were going to introduce phase detect autofocus 10 months later down the line, then it just seems like a bit of a premature release. I mean, I don't know why they'd bother. Why not just wait until the new focusing system is there? I mean, the GH6 was kind of designed entirely around this kind of brand new sensor that they'd put into the camera, and it had a whole new processor, the kind of Venus engine that they're using. But it's, is that hardware compatible with phase detect? That's kind of the real question. You'd think with phase detect already on the horizon that they would have kind of considered this, and they would have spec'd it suitably to kind of get some kind of retrospective update. It's not as if other MFT cameras in this price bracket can't introduce phase detect. You've got Olympus are doing it without issues on the OM1. So I sort of feel like if they've overlooked that, then they might have inadvertently delivered a bit of a bullet in the head to the entire MFT lineup, which is a real shame. When we've got great new lenses coming out, like we had the 9mm, there's a new 12 to 35mm MFT lens. So they're still supporting the MFT lineup, and it's it's just a real shame that it seems to have been bad timing on the kind of release date of this camera. For me, I'm not too worried. Like I say, this camera is going to be getting used for years to come. But I know, the kind of word in YouTube land now is going to be that you know, non-phase detect cameras are obsolete, don't use them. And MFT's already got a hard enough time without, you know, throwing another thing on the pile for people to kind of say, don't get it for that. And I just sort of feel like it's quite a big blow to the Panasonic MFT lineup unless they either release a new MFT camera with phase detect this year, which it's not going to come out alongside the S5 because we've heard nothing about it, and the S5 has been, you know, leaked everywhere. So, and you know, that's never by chance. It's just to stir up hype for the camera. You know, there was no leak. I'm sure Panasonic have just told, you know, a select group of people, and they've just essentially leaked it to, you know, all the camera news outlets so they can just stir up a bit of interest in the new cameras, which of course they're going to get. But it's just it just seems like they either needed an MFT camera that has phase detect, or they need to kind of retrospectively update the cameras like the GH6, you know, when it's got the new sensor, it's got the new processor. It's essentially their flagship MFT camera at this point. So if they can't kind of get it into that camera, I think they're really going to have like a bit of a problem, especially when we'd waited so long for this camera to kind of materialize. Another 8 months and then for it to also have phase detect wouldn't have really been an issue, I don't think, in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, I'd be interested to know other people's opinions on the subject. So, you know, if you've got any thoughts or opinions on it, then please leave them in the comments, because I'd be interested to know what other people kind of think about this.